Ladies and gentlemen,
This is Gamertag Radio.
worldwide.
Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of Gamer Tag Radio. This is your host, Danny Pena, and joining me on this special episode, we have Rihanna Manuel Pena. What's up, Rihanna?
Hello. I am very excited to be on an episode with Paris today.
Ooh, this is going to be interesting. And also, of course, the man himself, Paris Lee. What's up, Paris?
I also am excited to be on a podcast with Rihanna. This should be a lot of fun.
Damn, why nobody gives me a shout out?
I've been dealing with you for 20 years. Whatever.
I
What's
see
going
you
on?
every day.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all good. It's all good. So, this episode, we're going to be talking about our review of South of Midnight. I know we all been playing it. We all completed the game, right?
Yes.
Last
roll
Paris
credits.
has? And I have. Okay. So, we're going
And
to talk.
I watched the whole credits, by the
I
way.
did too.
And didn't
Oh.
skip or fast forward.
I took some screenshots as well.
Oh, of the credits?
Yeah.
Oh,
a
cool.
lot of
people in
people
there.
we know
Worked
helped
on
make this game. So
Yeah. Shout to them. Shout to them. All right. So we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, maybe, I don't know, everything, just everything. So I would like to start by saying this. I wanted to start by saying this. It took me 11 hours or so to complete the game. 11 hours or so. I really enjoy the game. I feel like the gameplay is like a hit or miss for me. But the thing that I feel like I'll shine more than the gameplay is the story, the voice acting, the music is phenomenal, by the way. Soundtrack is top notch. The composer that worked on this soundtrack, he also worked on multiple soundtracks in the past. And one of them, which I have it around here as a vinyl, Streets of Rage 4. I had him on the show, Oliver, shout out to him. I had him a couple years ago, I think 2020 on Gamer Target. Make sure to check it out. But anyways, phenomenal soundtrack. I like the game. I like the game overall. I just felt like the gameplay is like a hit or miss for me. I felt like the demo that we played, the preview that we got to play before, is basically like that the whole game, where it's like, attacking the enemies, doing your thing right, and then the running, and then there's gonna be part of the game where the dark forces, I think that fog, what's the name of it? Do you remember?
Rue.
Yeah, will go after you the whole time, and this is like in almost every level, and I'm like, I get the point, but I think everything else outshined that it didn't really bother me as much. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys felt the same thing, and I would love to hear what Rihanna has to say. I know Power just finished it last night, so let's go with Ree first.
I'll let Paris go first because I have a lot to
Okay,
say,
all right.
and I don't want to completely steamroll the whole conversation.
Cool. Go,
Oh,
Paris.
I'm about to steamroll the whole conversation. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So let's talk the good. Music and the sound is phenomenal in this game. Like, I mean, incredible. Some of the theme songs that the bosses get in this, like, and I don't want to even spoil anything. There's one that I was just humming the whole time, right? It's that good. The jazz inspirations that are in it, so freaking good. Really, really good. Inspired voice casting in this. I mean, everybody just did a phenomenal job. Obviously, main character Hazel, she was fantastic the entire way through this. Ahmad Best was the voice director for all of this, and he obviously played a role in the game as well. Phenomenal. Just everybody deserves kudos in this. The art in this game, it's incredible. It is. This is such a love letter to the deep American South and just the fables and the lore of all that. And I love the character designs and the boss creations and everything that they did, even just from an environmental standpoint of the level designs. Just, it reminded me of the South. Being from the South, this was the South to me. So I felt right at home with a lot of the stuff that they were able to present in this game. Now the bad. You already hit on it, Danny. It's the gameplay. And that is the unfortunate part of this. There is some a minor, there's a little bit of a skill tree here where you can kind of upgrade some of the things because Hazel uses the strands, and I forget the name of the the two weapon things, but she basically has like a push pull attack that she's able to do, and you can upgrade aspects of that, damage, healing, things like that. Like myself personally, I upgraded my entire general side of the tree, and then I upgraded two other sides on the other tree, and then this kind of gets into the bad for me from a gameplay standpoint. So everything is enclosed in an arena, right? You essentially enter the arena, you fight enemies, you know, and as you progress, there'll be even more enemies, but you kind of quickly figure out the patterns with those. So honestly, there wasn't really that big of a challenge with the gameplay, and was very repetitive in that way. You already mentioned the part when every level you go in, you basically have 4 arenas that you battle in. It then takes you into basically almost like a story mode, so you learn more about the character that's a part of that region and unfold their whole story. And then you have the chase sequence, and then sometimes you have a boss, sometimes you don't. Rinse and repeat. That is the game. I mean, it's literally the entire game. There was no real diversity to that. The exploration really was pretty straightforward. You can kind of go off the beaten path to get the looms, which you can use to upgrade, you know, your skill tree. But that's about it. Like essentially, I would come to a thing where, because you can do like the trail, so you know which way you're supposed to go. I would do that, and then I would see, okay, I could go this way or I could go that way. All right, I'm gonna go this way because clearly there's a loom over here, so I'm gonna go find the loom, and then I'll come back and go on the main path. And that was it. That was all the gameplay that was part of this. The boss battles, again, you figured out the pattern pretty quickly in it, you know? So, and I'll bring up one other good part, because I didn't really talk about the story. I thought the story itself was great. The journey of Hazel, you know, was great. I love that. Honestly, it was kind of sad.
It was
some parts very sad in there as well. But overall, I like the game. I am happy that I got to experience it. I don't even know how long I played it. I basically played it over a 3-day period in chunks. So I'm probably around you, Danny, 11, 12 hours or something like that. Quick AA experience to come in. Obviously, it's priced as a AA game as well. It was worth my time, absolutely, playing this, but it was a one and done. I don't see me going back to this. I don't feel like there's any replayability to this. Because again, the gameplay was very just straightforward, and there was no variety to it at all. And that would probably be my most disappointing part of it. But like I said, the visuals, the art, the music, the sound, the story, all of that was top notch. I mean, high level, all of that. And it almost, to your point, supersedes the fact of the gameplay. But that is going to be a factor for a lot of people, that this isn't something that you're playing, in my opinion, for a challenge. You're literally playing it almost like an interactive story, if that makes sense. So that's my opening. And Rana, I know you got a lot to say.
No, I'll just kind of piggyback off of your points. I think this is I would say an extension of a narrative-based game. Like this is a story that you're playing through. I would not approach South of Midnight as a gameplay-heavy title. It's just not focused on that. It's not where it shines the brightest. The gameplay is competent for me. I explored every corner I could find and attempted to 100% the skill tree. So I'll say every single time I press the little guide in the whisper in the ear, Hazel, and then like you see the little guide on the screen telling you which way to go, I would always go the other way, because I was trying to find every loom, every secret, every additional piece of narrative, and I think I did pretty well. I got every upgrade on the skill tree except for one. So without a guide, obviously, as there's no guides published yet, I almost 100%ed the game, and I can confidently say, even on easy mode, because I did knock the difficulty down a bit so I could get done in time for this review, and even with everything filled out, the combat was still just there for me. It was something to do. It became very repetitive. The enemies did become more interesting and more varied in the way that they combine when they pop up, but the combat areas are very specific, so you're never caught off guard. You know exactly when you're going to fight, and anytime you're not in a combat area, there is no fighting. So there were no additional pressures on the combat for me. But I don't really play games for combat, so I'm okay with that. Now, going to what I think most people will find really exciting about this game, story. And when I say story, I mean the environment, I mean the music, which is so
good.
beautiful, so well done, so well integrated into the gameplay and the storytelling. And the overall narrative, I had a lot of problems with it. And I was not expecting that. So my family is from the South. My mom's from Florida. Most of my family's from Kentucky. So I have a lot of context for the language, the relationships, like the things that they do, the type of lives they live. My family has not always come from wealth. So I understand a lot of where Hazel seems to be based from. I don't know if I agree that life is that tragic all the time. And that's okay if it is for people. I don't want to celebrate the stories of the South that way. I think that's kind of how it hit me, where I can definitely appreciate grit. I can appreciate overcoming really difficult situations and terrible, terrible circumstances and misfortunes and generational trauma and all of the things that you experience through the storytelling of this game. It was so heavy-handed for me that it made it hard to be joyful. And I was bummed out by that. I think there are so many beautiful things in this story. I think there's so many beautiful things in the Deep South. And I know this is a slightly darker tale. Like they did say it was Gothic South. And I understand that. And I don't play a lot of horror games, as everybody knows. So I'm not used to steeping in misery. But I left so many of my play sessions down. And I hated that because I really love this game and I love what it's doing. But I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I'm very conflicted about it. And I honestly don't know who I would recommend it to. I think it would depend on their mood. I think it would honestly I would have to seriously consider where they are in their life. As a new mom, there are a lot of child traumas in this story. So I will say that was a bit triggering for me. As somebody who has lost family, like most of us have, that was pretty triggering to me. And I will say child abuse isn't this heavily featured in this game, which is difficult for me to get through. So there were just a lot of heavy things in the story that made me less excited to keep playing, which was so disappointing of a feeling because I love everything that they did. I just had a lot of trouble with the content.
You know, I'm actually very happy that you said that because I wasn't thinking in that perspective, but I think you're very spot on with what you're talking about. And I'm going to phrase it this way. Being a game that is one of our first, if not only, representations of the deep American South with a young black protagonist.
Who is fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely love Hazel.
Fantastic. But everything's a tragedy. Everything. It's very traumatic. The story of this game, the revelations of why you find out that certain things happen the way that they did, why a certain creature became the way that it was always traumatic. And let's try having an adult conversation about this.
It's very nuanced.
In this sense, I appreciate what Compulsion has done with this story because I could relate to a lot of it, unfortunately. And you and both of you, this is a question to both of you. I feel like there's a couple chapters missing. That was my one thing when I got towards the end. I felt like there was parts of the story that got quote unquote cut for time because I feel like we jumped from one thing and then all of a sudden, well, damn, we're at the end. Well, what about the other thing over this thing?
Yeah.
You kind of just neatly wrap that up like super quick. So while, and again, I'm not spoiling anything. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of tragedy in this, but you know, there is beacons of light along the way.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to spoil the ending, but to your point, this could be triggering for some people because of how it represents something from their own life. Because like I said, I know a couple of these examples, even though they didn't happen to me directly. I got some family stories. Okay. So I get it. And I get it's a representation of that. But to your point, I don't think we got enough of the other side at the same time in this story. So you like I said, you make a fantastic point on that. Like overall, I really enjoyed what we were shown. I could relate to it and all that. But yeah, it was very Debbie Downer-ish for the vast majority.
And I appreciate that, Rita. You mentioned that because I when I play this, it was more of like, oh man, this is cool that people are gonna get to see the culture of the South, you know, like because we don't see that in games at all, you know. Yeah. So like I appreciate like even the voice acting in this, the music, everything. But at the same time, I get where you're coming from. It's like from the Latino side, when we watch a movie, especially like in the early days in film, it was always the same thing. Either a drug dealer, it's always like something negative, you know, image about our culture. And that's the vibe that I'm getting after hearing this from you. Because I was never thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that you mentioned that.
And I understand. I'm soft. Like I am not the kind of person who watches like super dark, gritty stuff. I don't play those types of games. So I am definitely, I would say, probably a little more sensitive than the average person who's playing this game. And most people probably won't have the same issues that I had with it. But I just have to be honest to my experience. There were a few tonal shifts where like 1 minute there's a joke being cracked and the other one Hazel's like sobbing uncontrollably that were kind of odd. But other than that, the narrative did feel cohesive. So I feel like it did what it was trying to do. However, as you said, Paris, those beacons of light were there, but they were just not enough to balance it for me. And I don't do Black trauma very well, period. So I had a rough time with this.
Because, and this isn't a spoiler for people in the story, but a lot of themes of abandonment, abuse, straight up murder was in this. So, and to your point, let's just keep it real. We're talking like a lot of Black trauma, right? And I think we never got to see enough of the quote unquote happy times for Hazel. We're literally introduced to Hazel in a traumatic event. And that sets the tone for the entire story moving forward. And again, the music, the level design, the art, all that is beautiful. But like I said, you're telling me this, and it like literally just clicked in my head as you're saying this. And this is why I'm kind of reacting to it this way that, well, damn, yeah, there was a lot of bad stuff happened in this game. And there wasn't a lot of redemption in the way. Like, you know, I'm not going to spoil the ending. But even the end result
felt rushed.
I felt not even rushed, but I felt like there wasn't enough consequence, accountability to your actions.
Yeah, agreed.
You were almost in a weird way rewarded for your actions by the end. So again, I'm trying to steer clear of spoilers, so I'll leave it there. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just really quickly, Danny, I have just for context for people who are maybe having trouble understanding where I'm coming from, because I'm saying I loved this game and then at the same time it bummed me out. I did not like The Last of Us because of these reasons, and obviously not specifically for Black trauma, but I don't like misery and dread, and that's the point. Like, I don't do well in apocalyptic settings with my fiction, so it's just not my bag. And so I just wanted people to know, if they're going into this thinking, oh, this is a beautiful celebration of the South, it is, but it's pretty dark. And to just prepare yourself for that, and to know that if you're going to go 100% into story the way I did, because I was so excited about it, and it is so beautifully crafted and executed, it is very, very dark.
You know, part of it, I'm trying so hard to not spoil things.
It's hard. It's really
It is hard. It is hard.
People have seen this are in a lot of the previews and trailers and stuff. Part of what Hazel does is when she goes against these creatures in this world, she quote unquote unravels it, and she brings out the beauty of the world back to life. we don't get to see the end result of that enough in the game. And I think that's part of it too, is she unravels and you're moving on to the next thing. I think even, okay, I'm going to spoil things, so I'll be quiet, but
Maybe we should do a spoiler cast.
yeah, they're definitely.
We should.
You know what's interesting? For this being, for all intents and purposes, a 12-hour game, there's a lot to discuss.
So
about
much.
What Hazel's journey entails and the people and the creatures that she encounters. And again, their traumas and their stories and how she's helping them and all that. And that's what I mean. I know we're focusing on that one part of it, but it's like there's a lot of good here in the game. Don't get me wrong at all. Again, I still think the weakest part of the game is the gameplay, which will be a big deal to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, you can judge accordingly. But I give Compulsion kudos in this sense that even though we're talking about the traumatic events of the story and everything, I felt they treated that region of the world, I think fairly is the word I'm looking for. I think they did have some TLC. Let's put it that way.
It was done respectfully.
Yeah, there you go. They were respectful with it. I don't think they recklessly just, we're down in Louisiana in the swamp. I think,
No.
you know, they like you said, they treated it respectfully in that way. I just wish they could have shown not everything about the South is dreary and dread.
Yeah.
There's good parts of the South, and we didn't get to see that. I will say there was a part towards the end, and this is where I say a lot of the jazz influence came into it. Oh yeah, I love that. That I wanted more of that. I guess, and this is why
that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope too.
I feel like there's a chapter or two missing as a result because I think there was more to that we didn't get to see.
There
So
are a couple of highlights. Sorry, Danny, I'm keep talking over you.
That's all good,
I don't want people to come away with this as I'm saying I didn't enjoy the game or it's not good or I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. There are some really beautiful moments and the scenes, the ambient sound is absolutely like enthralling. Like you just hear like the bugs singing at night. And, like it really does feel like you're in a swamp. Like it's really, really beautifully done. I really love the way that touches of the lyrics of the song that you hear throughout the boss fight kind of preview as you're learning more about them as you go throughout each level. Really, really cool trick that they did to pull that off. I do wish that you were able to turn closed captions on to see the lyrics of the songs on the screen because I couldn't figure out how to do that.
I agree.
And I was missing words, and I was like, I want to know exactly what they're singing. But some songs are like some earworms in there for sure. There's some really beautiful, like not only jazz, but there's some country in there. There's some blues in there. There was a rock song. Like they have really great variety of music that has come from the South and that has originated from the American South. Like some of the environmental puzzles are cute and clever, but other ones like really surprised me. Like how they slip some stuff in there, and again, no spoilers. This is really hard. And me being directionally challenged without a map, the fact that I almost got enough to fill out the skill tree, I'm actually really happy about that. Which means the game direction is really clear. So like, there's so many great things here. There's cute little idle animations that Hazel does when she's just standing still, like beating her legs because she's a runner, and that's what you do when you have too much buildup in your legs and you need to get the cramps out. Like there's so many great touches, and they took such care with this execution. Like I just needed more light. I needed a little more light. I think that's where I'm at.
And I do want to mention, you're right, Rhea, about closed captions for the soundtrack because there's part. It's not only with the boss battles, Paris, but or enemies, but it was also maybe she's having a conversation with someone and they discover like a story, and then you hear a song that relates to that conversation or that part of the story. I was like, man, that is fascinating. Like I could definitely see that soundtrack getting awards because it was that good, that good for sure. Were you going to say something, Paris?
You know what was missing? I'm realizing all this as we're discussing. I'm glad we're having this conversation. Part of it, I wish we had side quests in the game where you had secondary characters that you're working with and you're helping beyond just the main characters. Everything was about that main character in that chapter. You do the four things. You get their story, and then you do the trench run, and then you do the boss battle. All right, on to the next thing. I wish there were other side characters in there. Like this isn't even really a spoiler, but like Jolene in that chapter.
Oh my
maybe
God.
Maybe there could have been a side. Oh my God! Again, there was there were some really dope things in there. I wish they could have explored more, or you didn't have to do it. It could have been optional, but you were rewarded for actually interacting with this character and doing something else off to the side. Like I said, again, they're treating this like a AA game. I get it. Straightforward adventure. But I think there was potential to do more in this universe. And I'll say this, and I know you want to say something. And that's why I say, again, this feels like a one and done for me, because I feel like the way they wrapped it up, I don't feel the need to go back and get more of Hazel's story. I feel like I'm done. We already know where it's headed, and we're good.
Ree, you were going to say something?
I actually feel the opposite. I want to see more. I want to see more of what they would do with this character, fully realize. Obviously, you know, after the first mission, she has to lose all her powers so you earn them again, because video games. But I would love to see what Hazel does in the next stage of her life. I would love to see how she can heal other places, and if maybe the overall delivery of that is at the same that like stellar level of this game, how the tone could potentially pivot and maybe lighten a little bit. And not to say that we need to ignore difficult experiences or to sort of, I don't know, put brushstrokes over trauma. I don't want to suggest that at all, especially not for stories that are really important for people to tell, for them, because, you know, there's something cathartic and beautiful and really powerful in that too. Again, I just go back to the word balance. I personally need more balance in my storytelling, because the world is so difficult in real life. Stories are where you get to see the ideal or the aspirational. And aspirationally, I would like to have seen more of the, as you said, Paris, the impact of Hazel healing the world, right? Like, because it's beautiful when she does it. The effect is cool. Flowers and shit, but like I want to know what that does to the people's lives around her. And also shout out to Jolene's character model, because she is so cool. Like,
it is very cool.
I can't wait to see somebody cosplay as her.
Yeah, and you know what? Also, I have to bring up, Rhea, and I thought about you right away. Is also the hairstyle and the outfits that she wears throughout the game. Like, you know, I think it was well done, in my opinion. Do you feel the same?
Oh yeah, she looked great. Like, she's absolutely gorgeous and so cool. All the braided styles are really, really well done. And obviously there's a certain amount of artistic expression in this game. Like, the actual game opens with stop motion animation and claymation, and then obviously that's inspired in the art style. But I think they did a really great job with everybody's hair. Like, there are a lot of really cool hair textures, like big, huge curls. Like I said, on Jolene, like her mom's hair is a little bit tighter curls and like bigger volume, and they all look absolutely beautiful. It's really well done artistically.
Yeah, Paris, you got to check this out on the Series X or S? Because I know the majority of us plays on the PC, but just want to.
So
I was going to ask.
So that was my tweet that I put out the other day, where I was talking about Xbox Play Anywhere, because I literally played it across 4 devices. I played it on the Series X.
4SKU, great.
There you go. I played it on the Series X. I played it on the S. I played it on my gaming PC, and I played it on my Rogue Ally as well. So I got to experience the full gambit. It is not Steam Deck verified. And they warn you that in the review, so I didn't even try that, but it played fine on the Rogue Ally, which is essentially the same, but you know, Windows, it played fine. I had no issues playing it on there. Series S, it was fine. And obviously on the X and on my PC, it played just fine as well. Again, I love the play anywhere aspect of it, that all my progress just followed me wherever I went. Achievements popped, the whole thing. So all that was good. Yeah, no, from a technical standpoint, no issues at all when it came to that. I think this was when I was on the Series X. Ironically enough, it was Jolene, which funny story. I saw the Jolene part when I went to Compulsion last year.
Oh,
and,
okay.
And Siri agrees. And the same hair bug I saw then, I saw it on the Series X as
There's
well.
a bug. Oh,
There's a bug.
Yeah.
What's the
I
bug?
had two crashes
With
but-
her hair. Like Jolene's hair went weird, you know.
Okay.
And that
There's
was like
a lot
the
of it.
only thing I saw. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
two crashes. I had two crashes during boss fights.
I had no issues on PC, actually.
I was on
And you know-
Series S when that happened.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I did notice, the animation is a lot smoother this time around than when we got to play as a preview a couple months back.
Makes sense. Polish.
Right?
Final polish on it.
It's a lot better. I remember playing it, like I was enjoying it, right? But I felt like it was bothering my eyes a lot. You know, and this one, I was prepared for this, and I didn't get that at all in this version on the PC. So just want to mention that very quick. Anything else? Anything else?
I mean, I'll just say for my final thing, it is worth your time. And as we're already saying, it's like a 12-hour experience. So it's not like you got to invest 30, 40 hours into this story. It is worth playing, going through Hazel's journey, the music, the ambient sound, again, the artwork that everything that South of Midnight brings is something you want to experience 100%. But I will warn people again, the gameplay is pretty straightforward. What you do in chapter 1 is what you'll do in chapter 14. Pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it'll scale up a little bit, and I just played it on the standard difficulty. I never felt a weird challenge. I mean, if I died at all, it was just me being an idiot and not making a jump or something. But again, I guess we didn't talk about that so much. We talked about the combat portion, but even when you're in the world, a lot of platforming that you'll do. Some kind of, uncharted, climbing that you'll do as well. But I mean, like I said, it was pretty standard stuff. Nothing innovative in that way. And like I said, it's pretty straightforward. They're definitely not being very diverse with a lot of the combat or even the traversal through the world. Like I said, what you'll do in chapter 1 is what you'll do by the end of the game as well.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else, Reed, from your side?
Yeah, I would say most people would probably like it. And I'd say if you like games that are heavy on story and vibes, give it a shot, right? It's on Game Pass if you're subscribed, and as Per said, it's not a lot of time. Dan, you were only at like 10, 11 hours. I think I was somewhere around that too. And I did went for 100%. So it's not asking a lot from you, but it will give you a lot to think about, as we're clearly seeing in this conversation. And I think it's a story that should be experienced. And please play with headphones. It helps a lot.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And also, if you have an ultra wide screen, hey, like me, hey, go for it. That's
Full
that's
immersion.
A plus. That's a plus. Now, I just want to say, thanks to Compulsion and also Xbox for giving us the opportunity to play this game. I know Paris went to the studio a couple months back, and then we also sat down with the team for the podcast. So it's been a great experience. I feel like people should give this game a try. And I'm okay with games that's 10 hours, 12 hours long too, because as a parent, we don't have a lot of time to play games that's like over 40 hours. You get what I'm saying? It's like I did that with Assassin's Creed Shadows. That was a lot of hours, man. Actually, I was like away from her and baby for a while.
That was tough on the family. Yeah.
But with this one, it was like 2 days for me. It took me, and I was already done. So I had a good time. There was some issues. I just wish there could have been more. For me,
And shout out to Compulsion for getting writers who know these characters really well and who can speak to these voices very accurately, and for even casting people who have never done work like this before because of their authenticity. It really helped. You really do feel like these are true. Well, obviously there's a lot of fantastical monsters, but they really feel like they're truly reminiscing and representing the South very well, and masterfully done. I think they pulled off a really beautiful, beautiful story.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to or watching Gamertag Radio. And until next time, we're out. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.